UFC 264, 10th of July, Conor McGregor versus Dustin Porier 3, the Trilogy fight. And I've talked about this a few times, and as we are now 10 days away, I think I'm going to talk about it again. So, now, Conor McGregor, and every time he fights, because he's such a polarising figure, because everyone wants to watch him, because the world talks about him, because he does stupid things, because he does amazing things, he divides opinion a lot. And what comes with someone that divides opinion is people that like you tune in to watch you and people that hate you tune in to watch you. And when you think about the last fight that did 1.6 million pay-per-view buys, they didn't promote it. They didn't promote that fight. They had one press conference where they said really nice things about each other. They did 1.6 million pay-per-view buys. That's star power. That's draw power. Now we're going into this fight. They haven't promoted it either. They don't need to, because the story's there. They've done the hard work. Are we going to see a press conference? I bloody hope so. And I hope they're not as nice to each other as they were last time. I don't think they will be. Obviously, we've had this whole charity thing. I'm not sure if I know that was manufactured or not, and that's kind of why it's okay. If you don't know, then we can all sleep happily. But I am nervous for Conor McGregor, and I'm always nervous for Conor McGregor when he fights. I always think he's going to lose. I don't know why. It's just that. It's the same when England play. When we played Germany yesterday, I was convinced we were going to lose, and we didn't. So what do I know about football or MMA? But I always get nervous that he's going to lose. Obviously, his last fight, he lost. In his last 6 MMA fights, he is 3-3. Let's not forget that. He's not someone who's in his ascendancy at the moment. He is 3-3. He lost his last fight. He beat Cowboy Cerrone. He lost to Nate Diaz. He lost to Khabib. He did beat Nate. But there are losses there. And when you make a lot of money, it is harder to get out of bed. It is harder to do the things that you did that made you what you are now. It's harder to get up in silk pajamas, or however the expression goes. So I do fear for him. In Dustin Porier, he has just reached probably the pinnacle performance of his career. That fight against McGregor is probably the best result he will ever get in his career. Even if he beats him again, people will say, well, he's already beaten him once. McGregor's washed up. But that fight for Dustin Porier was his apex. It was the one. When he tells his kids about his career, that is the fight he will talk about. Not if he goes on and wins a belt. He won't talk about that. He'll talk about the time he beat the best, because that was what everyone's perception of Conor McGregor, is that he was the best. So for Dustin Porier, he's kind of already climbed the mountain. Does he have to rubber stamp it? Maybe. He did lose the first fight, albeit 7 years ago, or 8 years ago now, I think it is. But they both have something to lose here. I feel that if Conor McGregor loses, I don't know if he will fight again. I don't know that. Only he knows that, obviously. But I just worry about Conor. And it's silly because there's always another star, isn't there? There's always another star. But the fun that I had when Conor was coming up, watching his fights, listening to his press conferences, watching him do things he shouldn't do, smashing up buses, saying nasty things about Khabib's wife, terrorising Jose Aldo on their trip around the world, snatching his belt from Jose Aldo, going back and forth with Nate Diaz in that press conference, throwing those cans. All of that stuff was so much fun to be a part of. I went to Vegas to watch him fight Chad Mendes. He really encapsulated what it is to be that person. It's a hard thing to describe that sort of person and that persona, and he just grabs the zeitgeist at the time. It's something else. And when you get people that do that, you just want them to keep going, but the reality is they don't. And I know he's only 32, but kids, fiance, extra money, whiskey business, yachts, there's a lot going on in that kid's life. And you better believe he doesn't go down the gym on a Tuesday and do jiu-jitsu with everyone down at SBG. No, he's closing a deal for something, or he's off in Dubai. A lot goes out the window when you fill your life with other things. Something's got to fall out. And when he was on the dole and he was in Ireland and he was collecting benefits and he was training at the gym, that's all he did. He trained at the gym every single day. He got hungry and hungry and hungry and hungry. And now he doesn't need to do that anymore. And that's my fear for Conor. Can he win? Yeah, he can. With that left hand, he can. Will he? I really don't know.